Good evening, YouTubers. The new time travel Jaime 88. I'm back with another Doctor Who DVD review. And yes, we still celebrating Doctor Who's 50th anniversary. Tonight, it is a big birthday for the 4th Doctor. That's right, British actor Tom Baker turns 80 years old today. So to do that, I am going to show off all 42 Tom Baker stories on DVD that I got. Wow, I know it's a lot to be showing. Now this review probably will be split into two parts because it's a lot of 42 DVDs starring Tom Baker. Anyway, before I start this review, I would like to give a quick shout out to Andre Grindle. Andre Grindle, your videos are super awesome. Keep up the good work. And let's begin with the birthday tribute. The first story from Tom Baker is his first adventure. Yep, his first adventure. Robot. Yes, Robot is one of the best all-time Tom Baker stories ever. And it has the same continuity to... It still uses the sets from the Jon Pertwee era. It marks the final appearances of producer Barry Letts before Philip Hinchcliffe took over the production run. And it's one of the best stories. It features Eunice Men still unchanged from the last serial, including... This story reminds me of King Kong. Yep. As you can see, it was the first Doctor Who story to be shot on videotape. Broadcast December 28th, 1974 to January 18th, 1975. Awesome story. I really love it. Next up, The Ark in Spades. Wow. Very entertaining story. And still another best of my favorite episodes is Tom Baker. Yep. And that's when they all traveled to the space station Nerva. And this is the special edition of the story. I replaced the original copy with this because it also has the movie version of this story. Originally broadcast December 25th to February 15th, 1975. If you haven't got the special edition of this story, I would highly recommend it. Next up, a two-part adventure, the Centurion Experiment. Yup, marks the return of the Centurions, and it's okay. Probably one of my favorite stories, but it's underrated. In this one, the Doctor battles the Centurions, and the people believe the space station Nerva, but it isn't. But guess they fooled the spacemen. Yup. This is a good episode. Alright, let's move on to the next Tom Baker adventure. Genesis of the Daleks. This is the best ever 4th Doctor story I ever saw. I really love it. It is fantastic. It marks the introduce of Davros, played by the late Michael Wisher. Yep. Awesome adventure. It's a a 2 DVD set. Revenge of the Cybermen. A good Cybermen story, awesome 4-part adventure. And all returns, when they return to a space station Nerva, they find out the TARDIS wasn't there at first. They arrived early, so this space station takes place before when they arrived. Yep. I really enjoyed the story. Moving on to the DVD of Terror of the Zygons. Yep, this is a very intriguing story. And I really love it. The director's cut of episode 1 is brilliantly done by Stuart Humphries, Babel Color. The same guy who also colorized The Mind of Evil. It marks the final appearances of Harry Sullivan before returns in the next adventure. That's the android's Evasion. And also marks the final time of Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. Yep. This is a very good episode. I really love it. The Zygon made only appearances in the classic story. It does not appear until Day of the Doctors. Moving on to the next story, Planet of Evil. Planet of Evil is an okay story. It's a bit of an underrated. That's when the Doctor and Sarah travels to the planet. And great story writing from Louise Marks. Zeta Minor. Yep. Moving on to the Pyramids of Mars. This is a okay story. I know a lot of people doesn't like this story, and I really enjoyed it. And that's when before unit takeover in Egyptologists. Got it this time. But the android Evasion. This is okay story. I know a lot of fans probably going to disagree with me with this particular adventure, but it's alright. Very awesome and very intriguing story. It's the front, there's the spine, and the back. Yep. Now the spacesuits, I think, is a redress from the Ambassadors of Death. Final appearances of Sergeant Benton in this story. Alright, moving on to the next one. The Brains of Morbius. Now, this story is a homage to Frankenstein. And Philip Maddock returns as the Professor. Here's Morbius. And here's the Professor. Here's the Fourth Doctor. Front, spine, in the back. Karn. And that's when they enter like in a sisterhood. On the early VHS pressing of this story, certain scenes were heavily edited. Yes, it was heavily edited out due to some kind of violence. But until 1995, it was released as a collector's edition. It restores the full episode. So the movie version was withdrawn from the sales. Excuse me. Next story, The Seas of Doom. Great classic story. It's a brilliant 6-part story, and this one, Scorby gets just deserved. And that's when they materialize into home planet Earth. The Chronoids is a redress from the Axon. That because due to the budgetary from the story. And Robert Banks did a wonderful job directing this episode. Scorby gets eaten up by the plant. This episode reminds me of the movie Soylent Green. Alright, moving on to The Mask of Mandragora. This is the best particular adventure. Well, it's not my favorite adventure, but it's okay. Front, spine, back. That's when it landed in the 15th century. This is in the 14th season. Yep. And finally, The Hand of Fear, Sarah Jane's final story. And this disembodied hand started to attack people with the using this blue ring on it. It's a magical glowing power. And this is a very good story. I really love it. Alright. And we're going to stop right now for, we're going to pick up for part 2. Before we do that, and this lady did a wonderful job playing the, who's this rock creature woman? Someone help me out, put in the comments down below. Anyway, we're going to stop now. We're going to pick up a part 2, okay? See you later.